Loyalty comes in, but competence ranked higher. We have more people than positions available.
Again, resigning or retiring while Article 146 proceedings are being conducted to remove a judge is not an option any judge or public official can even have.
The president has acted strictly in accordance with the Constitution.
We have credible reports that the government anti-Galamsey task force has been engaged.
Yen sama ifo nyina kwaba ebiom emra dwumadie so athrasia ensama ekoso ewo oman Ghana mu yede ni nyina ebre ahefo na afi no yede ho nkomo His Excellency John Dramani Mahama ensembebre ene free na so ye eba afa suspended Chief Justice Odiabufu Kasa eno achi no President ne camp omonso aba be reply ama ensembebre ene free ho eba quick one ebe ran seminum eno so danchan a anti Galamsey nanse womani abre a womu eye dwuma eno nenam so ama Galamsey fo a womu oman Ghana mu womu buofu womu se dia His Excellency John Dramani Mahama ene na ban edi eye womu no ense entwaye quick one ebe ran so na febia aye kama weni semfufro bi ni aboabo no a yeba be di ho nkomo baransana no finally His Excellency John Dramani Mahama ama Aseidu Nketiah position ama sisi ameno kasei eni je abafie quick one yenko na fe commander emfa yenwuram na eni ho nkomo commander boko de
yeah right aboko
ense ensam no doso
of course
but then finally
yeah
Aseidu Nketiah enya appointment
of course
ama force eni je abafie
yeah
but quick one yenwuram we
well right we there mama na wasi na me charge for na fi ye shase na eni nkomo mfiri ho what no finally President John Dramani Mahama appointed Johnson Aseidu Nketiah ed no eko Ghana Ports and Harbour as board chairman or no ena okwa akwhwe honuma nsem ne ba ya ma nkofo edi ho nkomo ye pa
Aseidu Nketiah de
yeah
na amanfo menkan se opposition fo no ehuru no
of course
se John Dramani Mahama amfi no amanfo kwa ka se ono na ye the next flag bearer for NPP ntia basa na se wanya position bia
of course see right away them say a very good news already mampani eyi Professor Jampu
okay
ed no ko say onkoye acting CEO enti with immediate effect mampani assign Johnson Aseidu Nketiah as board chairman of Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority no Professor Jampu ebekwa akoye board member na Aseidu Nketiah aye overall boss bia ono eno behwe very good news but nkofo di nkomo
na obetimi aye adwuma no de because I'm for kase with NDC national chairman who has said omo party no be successful bibia be fine and at 2028 so you be can say omo gina kono
of course
and the same man this position no eni nkonko ni position na chi emma omo party na dwuma no ase enkwa bibi o no question am for bi sha
e ho na me so me concern ne power tre say question ya wo bi sade ama amamfo but so you obi a who follow Ghanaian politics ni ya question we na obi say because one NDC ejina timer mampani ne enche after 4 years obeko or kwa a new candidate will emerge candidates na din bebre asha say pop up nti wanya chairman ya odin na besi forma ubewie na ntokwa si party ni nti na dwuma ne so aside that ono ankasa manfo link no to the next flag bearership race no so say osanhwe no yie na ohwe se de be ya asumdwe baba even if obekwa nti so ohwe se adwuma so we ya dane so na also kwakoye adwuma e wo Port and Harbour as penny okwakoda no a obo se distraction kakra bebe but the truth be told him for see anyone enu
Aseidu Nketiah de too smart
of course
obetumi aye adwuma no
because enei active politicians e wo omani ma omoda so politics ni mu me share them a single politician or much experience Aseidu Nketiah right ebi abeka President John Dramani Mahama ndi or active in politics because what pass through all the ranks but Aseidu Nketiah so right from government offices right or adwuma bebre and o deserve yen say obetimi a collaborate ni nyina na wa adwuma ni yie but na nkrofo so di nkomo bi o amanfo say Aseidu Nketiah wabo NDC pa na bro wabo NDC no opese okọ for flag bearer enti aban no so ye ni favor say ene yemfa no nkonko shepot and habo na wono so onye sika kakra na onfa nko ne president
ara o man na yecheche no sika na ye man position bi ese koko sumo man na na say koko jiska
ha the same question na me
say e kosumo man no
brother e
kosumo say nu kese koyi o kwa kosumo man no
ya okoye
say the be bia be fine
of course
ana say okay
okoye juma
so 4 years no so 4 years no so a
yeah ene e be charge
obi odi sika bia no ye be hold no accountable say the MPP fu
enya even 4 years say the man panika no
yeah
Ora has come to stay.
Yeah.
Nti se obi a odi no ho be for sikase mu. Ekwa akobọ kro no bia no. Emrane ni bedi. But I doubt it. E am for perception. Because Ghana ha nya de obi ko be sika wo pe. Na nkrofa sha say adwene sa ne okoyi but I doubt that Aseidu Nketiah or a man of integrity. Yenhwe ha wo be ye adwuma.
Yemfri ona enkopiem e wo ha say suspended chief justice or in bebre e na aba be tudwa ne nsam no de doso. Baren ketwa bi na yebebo ere ache ahefo na ekoba commander on sem ni nyina wa ha obebiebiem na afi no wa chechim ama ahefo so etiebiti yewie no pe His Excellency John Dramani Mahama na so ye omo so be kantai e be chensem police ofosu kwache enti yenko na yentie ni nyina mbom yekoba eho info nyina wa ha sei
again resigning or retiring while Article 146 proceedings are being conducted to remove a judge is not an option any judge or public official can even have. There is a decided case on the matter by the Supreme Court. The suit number is J6/02/2019. Again, no one has the authority to walk away from proceedings started by the state. Judgment can be entered against you because you fail to defend yourself. And a judge who resigns or retires would still lose all entitlements that they have worked for because they failed to defend the claims and resigned or retired while the proceedings were still going on. Therefore, if false claims are made against a judge or commissioner or other public office holder subject to Article 146 proceedings just to achieve a political agenda, the solution cannot be to resign or voluntarily retire out of frustration, pressure, or fear. You would only subject yourself to two cruelties: a judgment based on false claims and loss of everything you have worked for. It may well be that the efforts being made are intended to frustrate me so that I resign, so that the architects of the scheme can go back into the media and say that the wild and unfounded allegations were not defended because they were true and I had no defense to them. As Chief Justice of the nation, who has been given the privilege and obligation to lead administration of justice, I should not turn tail and run when I know the implications of not defending false and unwarranted charges. If I resign under these circumstances, I will be saying that this flawed, unknown, and opaque process is acceptable. It is not.
But a number of things were said at the media engagement that, if left uncorrected, could create an erroneous impression and project government in a very unfair, unjust, unwarranted light. To begin with, we respect the right of Her Ladyship, the Chief Justice, to express any view that she holds about the matter in question, to the extent that it is consistent with the rules, because the Constitution makes it clear what the processes are in determining a matter of the sort that we are engaged with. The Constitution requires confidentiality on the part of all parties. It is a reason why the presidency on behalf of His Excellency the President, has refrained from commentary on the matter beyond stating what the President has done in compliance with the Constitution. So it would have been desirable that that constitutional provision was respected by Her Ladyship the Chief Justice, so that we do not have to engage in public commentary up until the time that the committee looking into the matter makes their determination. We are compelled, however, to correct certain misimpressions that were created at the briefing. To begin with, let me point out that as yet, nobody has been able to ascribe any known verifiable constitutional breach to the President in the way that he has handled this particular matter. From the very first steps in this matter, the President has kept fidelity to the Constitution and has respected the spirit and letter of the Constitution. Everything he has done has been by the book. That is why all those who have commented on the matter, including Her Ladyship the Chief Justice, have been unable to point to any specific provision under Article 146 that the President has been in breach of. Second, in terms of confidentiality, the President has acted strictly in accordance with the Constitution. At no point in time has the Presidency put out anything in any way, shape, or form that remotely resembles any of the contents of the petition. And the only communication that has gone out on this matter have been about the steps that the President has taken in accordance with the 1992 Constitution, Article 146 to be precise. 3, Her Ladyship the Chief Justice all but insinuated that there was some political agenda at play to oust her, and that this whole process is a result of sin. Let me place on record, without fear of contradiction, and let me be clear that no such political agenda exists. His Excellency the President took an oath to which he was incidentally sworn by Her Ladyship the Chief Justice herself. And in that oath, he swore to abide by the 1992 Constitution. He is enjoined to act a particular way when he receives petitions of the sort that he has received. And that is all that His Excellency has done. He has had no choice in the matter. The President cannot say that he has a view about how things should be done, and therefore, if petitions have come, he will fail to act. If he did that, he himself would be in breach of the Constitution, and therefore, he has been enjoined to act as any responsible leader or President of the Republic of Ghana would be required to do, as stipulated by the 1992 Constitution. The fourth point is also that we cannot have a sacred cow mentality in the way that we handle state affairs. Every single public official, from the President to the Speaker, to the Chief Justice, to Supreme Court judges, to ministers, to all public office holders, are bound by the provisions of Ghanaian law. Indeed, it was the former Australian Prime Minister, Kevin Rudd, who once said that when you...
Looking to level up your life and business game? Welcome to the #1 podcast for business and self-development. Connect
to raise him or herself above the laws of Ghana. It does not matter how sensitive your position is. Once Ghanaian law dictates that certain processes be undertaken in respect of some alleged misconduct, the rules must come to play. And that is the only guiding principle that President Mahama has operated by in all of this. So any claim, any inference, any innuendo, any imputation of a political motive to the President in respect of these processes are unfounded They are false and cannot be allowed to stand. And I wish to place that on record. As yet, absolutely no evidence of same has been furnished in any way, shape, or form. And therefore, I am minded to strongly reject that effort. Unfortunately, Her Ladyship, the Chief Justice herself, has added to this commentary, which initially was the tone of elements of the opposition. And it is deeply regrettable that this should happen when the president has been above board and conducted himself in strict compliance with the Constitution of Ghana. The other point that I wish to also place on record is that the attempts to link the dastardly killings of some Supreme Court judges and a military officer to this case are most disingenuous. To begin with, this government and President Mahama have nothing to do with the killing of any judge. Second, there's absolutely no nexus between the petitions that have been brought and that unfortunate incident in our past. So any effort to link the two is regrettable and should not find space in this sort of discourse. It is most undesirable. It is most unacceptable.
Okay, Commander.
Yeah, Director.
Suspended Chief Justice.
Yeah.
And our His Excellency John Dramani Mahama.
Of course.
And sir, Mami Bekasawi Ape.
Yeah.
And a John Dramani Mahama.
Yeah.
The office and so I didn't say be Braba Bontin.
Of course.
Ababe Chensemu.
Yeah.
But it seems some Mami no on Pesa over resigns a position in the Dedo.
Ejumana in the Director, there are reasons. Entia suspended Chief Justice on person very sign.
Entia.
Director, Ejumana now a lot of incentive packages and a lot of things and are all from that position now
okay.
At a time here any time will be free honina. Director say as Chief Justice, we all the power ikitana on all control judicial service in Sincha. But justice is a whole Supreme Court. So share the amount of money they receive every month. Yeah, just has a kind of Vienna Oko pension. And I say a good time be na BBC Naja Okwa with Jema. Right, or mine no else a reward with Sika who will be depending on or salary now. Any before say Obabe contain in Federal now they are several Supreme Court or any in Federal several as Supreme Court, and I say Chief Justice. Right, with all this, and the Chief Justice are considered. Anyone who says nay or no free pay resign pay, but a lot of these packages
the opposite. Say, oh dear, Obeja Kwana, or minor Unifrio, or minor Unifrio, the Ania. I better say, I also check compensation fee.
Doctor, say, in if you hold your on your bonnet, or not to one a Jamwana, my first in a floor. And I said that opposite or score on your political scores, okay, or certain political scores. But at a time, or modern neighbor. Now most of NDC communicators eka say adwuma party and ka enuru ne so nti a whole lot of issues and the course obenya akonya ne wie no obekaya NDC for na omukọ Supreme Court pa ahead of 2024 election omukọ bia nsem ne bebre no na in favor omo nti na NDC for no ka say maame ne yosono maame according to Ghana for na NDC for me say ono no wo defend the MPP or yosono maame right in this case Mahama wants to make sure say obe protecting integrity kitwe bi aka no.
Oh.
Say or resign pay e ba be tojo say ene yampa allegations ahodo ni nyina no. E no kre oni bibia to defend yourself. Oni prove bia ni evidence bia.
But then I also the rule move no say ye be ina fi ho a I was say yentem because prosecution no I was starting. Na man for koje.
Roger.
Say some man for
you na ye ina fi ho no. Baby aba bedru nne no say yin fi ho ntemu ya nyina fi ho ntemu meme yoki na eye pa so but ene she's in a situation only any power in her hands ya odi ba bibia bi ntumi bia nkita ne nsem there is a new Chief Justice ya oye acting the Chief Justice ya o hwe kirama ya ototo niema
okay
right na me no gusu kasa no de ntia onokura ye yin fi ho no eche no onokura na ma asem ni mu asayire after so odi kind court say on tin sem biase yen stop committee no na committee ni ntimi entwa so hwehwe na asem ni mu bi no eno achi ebotugu ye no wasan ko Supreme Court bi ma nche eho asem ebesa ba abonte a eno so o say claim say process na committee ni momnam so di djuma no o susu the process na emfa ne kwan so enti process na yensan hoto no bebi adu no ebeta ono ankasa na ma ade ni dili asem wenye tintin bia Rota a petitions na man for the aba. Mampani tray at the brew. No mampani bet my amount about 7 working days. Mampani more 10 days. Faber you one responding or responding. And a mampani did the same petition. I'm a committee. What is so much similar? And a committee invite to say, Mampani, am I a petition? Branebe in Sembiano tray. Right, assembly, Bonnie, Bonnie, if you think, no, nobody assemble between him. Nipa crowd dey assembly by there hu hia right a lawyer oba be ginam and a representative oba be ginam dey manipa no hu hia mfaso ni so
amanfo say the way a maame no esi a behave no bibia di one dance say o MPP ni
right say utie nsem ni bia from maame ne be hye na assembly say aka no who say na ni video no wakakra nti ye ba bia na ye capture ye but oba hye ne nsem na se no or the constatate on for say unfortunate incident bi a esi mre bi atwa charge fo bi wu ye ho na okosha ase free ye un say na MPP fo ohene ba mo de sa asem no e be ka o nsem ye propaganda against NDC ono so ho na okosha ase free say ono mpo satam na ot judge ne ba ko nchen as akwada a osom no ena sa incident ni nyina sisi ye enti director ba bi a o sha ase a o kan nsem free no o ya ye political chief justice ase oya kwakọ side na ho with enkrofo bi no ho e kwakọ hye baabi right because in some bi oba it doesn't make sense e hu hiam say chief justice obeba bontin say yes yes suspend you and I say suspend you ye hwehwe hu nsemu enkrofo say why bone na obeba be press conference say baabi a wugina nie ensem we na ekoso
say asem na hye ne so dodo
e ba te say asem a hye wo so
ase oman no onu se bi o man pese o man tietia ne fa hodie so
ebata se say o fa hodie a ye tietia so ne de ma ye hu ebata ye nyina ye ogana
se bi o ni boni bia na mo pese mo try ni free o
ebata boni na wuni ye no ono ankasa ni own statement or say there is one petition nseme wo nyina ne se odi ni kunu aka ne ho ko holidays na a very reasonable say enipa bia wo ko holidays ya na se wo wade obetimi de wo kani akọ right in common sense and kentosumu in law emra any common sense enyepe right we chief justice we all agree say constitution say we chief justice na o ko holidays na se bi oman no e na be fa ekana right you should go with
body guide
it say one fa na nko na wo susu say o ye de wankasa opede a na just what jamra no sinchen yen fa mra ni nya adwa we should accept this a fact right on what can say the law is the law enti say mra ni ye mra dia ade na wo nko ade mra ni di na so wontia say right o say o ma sheda de asem na ko hye baabi kokwa baabi e na o mu di asem no just to intimidate her
is it o say on resign na en resign china
right say obi anka so on resign you and our committee no ko ye no committee ni ka chense on ko resign right obi anka say on resign you see asem we ni susu say akoso ya manfo atwa beto ye nim enti brane be yi anomai right resign ni de me amete hey say me susu say sansem no me dey ho fa I will just go and answer the questions petition and me mpene hu right and watch petition and the rep me mpene hu ye me pese me hu an say I have evidence to prove say boni we me ni say me te ha no obeka kire me say wasama me court say ma bokro no a right me ko court wa de me ko ye nyina ne say me the evidence ekoyi me hu an say me mo kro no I have to go and defend myself nipa kura oba be ginam as rep de ehia right chief justice say edru ba bia wa ye adwuma ansa na obedu sa level no na wa bre nti eya na eya say obedu state bi say na all of a sudden bibia ba be jegu na wako empty handed and I say akwakoba say bra wo bra your reputation no ni nyina say eya de but she should understand say de wudua no eno ana obitwa
okay yemfiri o na yemfiri ni ncha say anse Galamsey fo bi bu afu aban no ama hihia me no kasei akoye nsem bebre baran yenkoti o mo nsem ne mra ekoba commander basan to aso
we have credible report that the government anti-Galamsey task force has been engaged in unlawful activities, including the unwarranted seizure and destructions of excavator belonging to our members, many of whom operate within the legal frame. In several instances, equipment has been forcibly taken from miners' homes where they were not in use. We caution that the current approach by the NDC administration risks repeating the failed anti-Galamsey strategies of the previous MPP government. Harassment and distractions of legal acquired mining equipment are not sustainable solutions to the challenges facing the industry. This sector remains vital in Ghana's economic growth, and we believe its actors deserve to be treated with fairness, respect, and legal protection.
And sir, the Akoso o my Ghana mono.
Of course.
I know ya din.
Yeah.
Timemufo say I was a Galamsey no, you stop no.
Yeah.
And what chi, almost what Babon say a choir by no faso stop Galamsey no. Almost on Tiasie.
How?
But then my problem is, yes, is excavators, almost woeful. But on your show, sir, I won't your name, forest reserves no. Even Serbia or certificate. No, you and answer all forest mua. I know who can be as a obejo excavator.
Roger, a 7 in another dynamic person can say, Omumbisa, every single member of the association said, a hefan and not over a year, Juma, or mobile or machines. A hefan and not Osha, oh, yeah, you mobile say or machines. The right met him in your license as a small scale miner. But a beer baby cry, Makwakosha, me too good, and your baby papa, Mrani Mammy Hokwine, Davy, and the say, oh, the Chimijima Fidia. Nama call my mother association up where complaint say, more men in some more licenses are me too good. I buy no Baba Jimmy excavators. Oh, but me coy, man, Trababy and me, Juman Quan Cotrao, a beer Michel Forest Reserve, a beer Michel River Bodies, Michel Woman and me too good. Rota, let's be sincere and fair. And Fama Yankasa who ask Ghanaians, say yes, sir, or mine be developing. We agree with them, or me any part. Say a todd be no meaning say, they are doing the right thing. Not obi ever how my ayana eya. Say what Tom Fiddy now we are the right thing. But assembling in an say, Yenim said the illegal miners in the city, or man or dead.
Say Anna or mine never called the any say, or mine no any you.
David Writer.
I say, oh yeah, the end, then Cophobia sans tattoo, say to two. To 2 adena wo ye
right say adena nyina I say said ye any brand person nkunya share ma as Ghanaians right afra ye moja enti ade bia ye beboa ye nyina no e ho ne wo hwa ahyase na ebe ha wono ni botom kakra ebe ka wono de a eni ye nyina ye de ne nsai na wono nkwa de ne nyeyi right they should question their association members now na omunye follow up na omun check it. Baby kura na omu mfidie ni sisi aye kofa aye omu check de na omu ye baby omu tu omu code no it cannot happen say what to excavate pakisi fie what onam nkran kumase sunwan other cities akesa
mami chawade wo de emfa ne say what to excavate ye say ewo wo de Galamsey na fie no ote sansem na no wo de akwakosi fie umpe won asem but then yes am be wu say bi as excavator no on register ya. So why no one say offer? Because now no yan be story we say DVL for say excavators ni bebre o ha you register.
Of course.
Ntia bia no sa excavators na o ma be fan. O mo register.
Of course. Right I know you one. Ana e be o ha you register it I agree with you. The second point is to grab it my say. What is our machine na kwa kwhye illegal mining site. What akosha for reservoir ye adwuma ya track wo no. E na wo ye fidie from na wo de adwane akosi fie. O mo be je fidie na they are right. Because fidie no and now they are causing damage to the country. And you need to pay for that. Right say je fidie na baby anipa kura sa mine ne ye ne dia na omudi bone no. Nipa no pia ba wan pia ma we seize it. Na ye dia government property. Na ye koye nim. The right ye timi ntoa so enso sa suban ene sa ne ye we so. Ye nties ye say baby o mine duru no. Ye bo ma na develop it. The right say aban ye dia enya we will come and speak against it. But in this case illegal miners, any small scale miners in Iran, they should agree, say, and ye is say, a ban straight away, one videos we are near Babacheno. Can you name Crome, one man for Yadia, or Mapa Cascavitas, a bincy Honko GB. Right, very simple.
Quick one. Young Aseidu Nketiah na area semno. General Mosquito is a when you're in position, but then or in Zambia Tuga Alpha MMDCEs won acquire NPP a fast so percent omoye niema. Nti abusua yentimra ekoba ebetuaso.
You mentioned something about, and in fact the president said it publicly, that this may be the very last time MMDCs are going to go through this process. This is very likely, he said, that the next time this comes around, they will be elected.
Yeah.
Does that mean that you are going to go through the process that the previous government started and got botched by trying to amend the constitution to make this an elected position?
Yeah, yes and no. You know, there are two stages. There is a decision to make whether MMDCs ought to be elected. And that is different from another decision. If they have to be elected, are they going to be elected on their own, or they are going to be sponsored by political parties? So there are two different decisions. As far as I know, the MPP was pushing for election of MMDCs on partisan basis. And that was where we departed from them. We think that there's a significant opinion that MMDCs ought to be elected. But as to whether they ought to be elected on partisan basis is another thing. So we stand for election on individual merit. And MPP thinks that we should elect on partisan basis.
But you made a very important point, and that those who say let parties sponsor, they'll say we're going to bury our head in the sand. But the parties will definitely be in there sponsoring candidates quietly, even if you say you should be elected on non-partisan basis.
You see, there is one thing, people contesting on their own merit, even though they may be party people. Okay, that is what we know happens now. If I go to contest Sekwa, Boso, Electoral area to Tiny District Assembly, everybody knows that I'm a national chairman of NDC. So if I win, NDC will claim to have won. But I'm not being sponsored by the NDC. If you say NDC should sponsor, it comes with costs, it comes with many other implications. And in the course of doing my work, I have to satisfy my partisan constituency instead of the whole community and with all the implications. So I think we are better off getting the elections than even if, parties will wish the candidates aligned to their cause will win and so on. It is not the same thing as a party sponsoring the candidate.
The president, when he met the confirmed MMDCs, also indicated that this time it's not going to be business as usual. You're going to be measured by very clear KPIs, and if you don't deliver, you would either lose your job or get reprimanded. In fact, beyond that, he also talked about an asset declaration, which he's given them a deadline to meet. But the KPIs, considering that these are party loyalists, many of them have served the party at different levels. They've paid their dues to the party. I'm not talking about monetary terms, but just sacrificed. And they will see this as a just reward for the work they've done over the years. Why should KPIs, which you apply in the private sector, become the basis and yardstick for assessing them?
Party loyalists should not necessarily be incompetent. Okay, there are other party loyalists that are competent. So if you prove to be incompetent, another party loyalist who is competent can replace you. So we cannot allow government business to suffer because of party loyalty. That's why I told you that in determining the criteria for the selection, loyalty comes in, but competence ranked higher than loyalty. And so, because we have more people than positions available. So for each position, you have about 20, 30 people who are qualified. So if some are competent and still loyal, you don't leave them there and go and settle on somebody who is incompetent but loyal. So if you cannot deliver, then you have to give way for somebody who is equally loyal but competent.
The understanding of accepted this.
General Mosquito, of course.
Aseidu Nketiah.
Yeah.
But quick one in Komo,
Yeah, Director, a very good topic, Pana.
Yeah.
One of the main issues, sir, in various district assemblies in development, the issue of MMDCEs.
Sir, Sansem, no, you do Komoda.
Yeah.
Emma, make us say, DCs, you know, I mean, they was and Swaba.
Of course.
Because Omuna human so more.
Yeah.
But then I am not as a person in our call MP for so.
Of course.
But then DC for no so near human more.
Yeah, Roger, DCs, you know. Ye poem po, Omono president, ye district.
Yeah.
MP ne de oyemra shabadwani na oni district office or onya adwuma but yen DCs MMDCEs ne de but they work at the various municipal, metropolitan and district assemblies. Director, aside that, they control the funds and every decision making or many assembly members ever take it. I agree. And I mean, Mr. Johnson, Aseidu Nketiah said, and the NDC took the best decision compared to MPP. Then he said, "You elected MMDCEs on political basis, in mature on partisan basis." Director, say you choose in terms of Abai say obi koye MCE but obelongi to MPP. Your kwa koye MCE obelongi to NDC ntia kwatwa ba NDC na the bright aba CPP na de ebi a big yaba.
Okay, no say we say no. Ebe to say yemfa party bi anko. Ebi a me na me pese me be MCE e wo district a. Me nko for NDC and me nko for MPP.
Yeah.
Ase yebe to abana bom.
Yebe to abana bom ye ni obi a wagina party bi adim wa wo pe bia no.
But so we can we den kwano a party ni di bebe mu.
The right and but sometimes who say yetimi nya nkrofobia within the same area or when you not follow within the same political party on the contest for assembly member because they feel like assembly member there and your partisan we MPP ni so me MPP ni I feel like me a popular
but who say assembly man for aban sa na ye no
of course
enti but still na no so when we say as a quiet politics so
yeah Roger still na politics ni won but e do be a it me balance kakra politics ni won because you have various political parties are underground omo sika any material things sponsor assembly members say omo fanya campaign right any nyina reason here ba kope say MMDCs na sha say to aba the right assembly members na parties e mo sika campaign e betwa because parties ni susu say ya to assembly members amoma nwene na oma ma metena wan twen ya ye MC ye GC ya ye nya assembly members e mo approve no say ye pese ye project ya DC you know the kwa assembly members ni approve in this case e show mutirim say tibamufo na na ekwa akoto abade ye MC but e basa e be check and balances so be adwuma because they feel like at the end way you ho only party game asema sim free party obi afri the baby and eba be share we came on merit ye benya ni papa amana di ade but enkonkoba se ene ye nya call ya isi o party ni susu se asema si abere o party enti yemfa ni din koma mampani na omo ni dimra mampani be bo obi obetima ye adwumadin assembly members se ye yempene yempene mani panima me who are the same person district you know among for ginidi assembly members nipa 100 pe e be kwa kwetena ka se ye yakoje 5,000 Ghana each into your money, the right or mobile they will not approve the person. I agree, but yes, shall in a way, and my politicians, you know, intimate take you total control. That was hard deal with.
Okay, commander, no, young fans, some say, but then ye kono, ever service here because on some you ha, ye kwa kwe huwa juma, quick one, and must ye kwebesa, but be me a cry for you now.